All right, welcome into another edition of Catching Up with Tommy Mac here on 1010XL's podcast platform at 1010XL.com. Of course, on demand as well. We're on their Facebook page, 1010XL's Facebook page. Good afternoon. Good morning. It is still morning right here on the East Coast, but good morning to all you out there on Facebook land and, of course, on the relevant app where we stream not only this show live, but the Horse's Mouth live as well. Stay tuned for more of that as we get back to film. We're actually going to be filming a live show of the Horse's Mouth on the USS Orlek, and I think it's on the 30th. So how cool is that? We're going to do a military-themed show. I'm going to bring some Jags on and do it right downtown on the ship.
Very cool.
Isn't that awesome? Good morning.
Good, sir. How are you?
Happy New Year, man.
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
Haven't seen you in a while.
I know it has been.
I've been out of town, and now, you had your little thing with your birthday and New Year's and all that.
Had a couple of days off.
Good time?
Absolutely.
What a great time here in this city, huh?
Oh, my goodness.
So you're not a young kid, but you're a younger guy. You kind of grew up. You grew up in Nashville, but you're always a Jags fan.
I grew up here. I only spent high school in Nashville.
In high school in Nashville.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're rooted here.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's unbelievable, the turnaround. I mean, you just can't say it enough to go 7-2 in the last 9. After the way they were going through that 5-game losing, you were like, man, what the heck? We can't stop anybody. Things aren't happening on offense. Little spurts here and there, that kind of stuff. But nothing like it's been. And there's some work to be done. We're going to talk about the game. But overall, 7-2 in the last 9. I mean, we just mentioned Doug Peterson, Shanahan, and Dan Campbell. Those 3 guys as coach of the year. Maybe I'm missing somebody. I don't know. But, man, what a great thing. Jags clinch the AFC South Division, as we all know, beating the Titans 20-16. I had the 16 right. I didn't have 31 right. Our offense not doing what it needed to do, but doing enough to win the game, of course. Great throw for the touchdown to Kirk. No doubt about it. Great call as well. Special teams was huge. Defense finally stepped up. I was worried. I mean, because, hey, look, credit to Titans for a great game plan with Dobbs, those quick throws, easy throws.
I thought he played pretty well.
He played really well, and I didn't like what our defense was doing. We weren't doing very well against him in the first half, and then we settled down a little bit, and then, of course, came up big in the fourth quarter. Our offense kind of opposite. They were okay in the first half. It wasn't too bad. Obviously, wanted more points, but then it wasn't good in the third and wasn't good in the fourth at all. I mean, just not good. But whatever, we get the job done. They win the game in incredible fashion. What a great call by Mike Caldwell. Great execution by Rayshawn. And great job, for Josh Allen to be there to pick it up and take it to the house. What a great moment. I'm an idiot, and I'm going to tell you a quick story real quick. So I was able to go to the game with my wife and my 3 girls, courtesy of the Jags. No seats, just standing room only in the club. It was great. We had an awesome time. Well, late in the fourth quarter, it's 16-13. We sputter on offense. We punted away. I said to my wife, I'm telling you right now, I don't want to be stuck in I don't want to be coming out of the stadium if they lose, and I don't want to be stuck in traffic. Why don't we make a run for it now? We'll listen to the rest of the game. Oh, yeah, it gets awful. It gets awful. So they're like, oh, okay. So we go, and right as we're exiting the stadium, place goes bananas, and everyone, even my wife's like, Dad, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm so sorry, man. I didn't think it was going well. And look, I'm glad it obviously went the way it went. What a great ending. I mean, what a great call, too. I watched it on replay, just right off that edge, and great play by him. And it was close, but it was definitely a fumble as you looked at the replay, but it was really close. And Hey, they got the job done. It was fantastic. My kids were so mad at me on the ride home. Oh, my gosh. Like, Dad, I can't believe you.
Our dear friend, Ryan the Hacker Green, did make a good point on the fifth quarter at like 1 a.m. when they did their show. The refs could have easily pulled a Miles Jack wasn't down on that play. They did a good job letting really the play. Close. They did it. Regardless of what the call would have ended up being, they did a good job of letting it play out,
right?
Letting the play happen,
right?
And then reviewing.
Yeah.
Because you're probably in agreement with me. It was close, but it was a fumble.
Yeah.
He fumbled
you
the
look
ball.
at the replay, you can
Right.
tell. And by
He
the
fumbled.
definition of what a fumble is from the quarterback in that situation, it's
Right. So could you imagine if they had blown the play dead and not let the return with the way the offense was playing? I don't know that they'd have gotten in the end zone.
No, I know. And it doesn't matter, obviously, because we win, but the offense definitely got to play better against the Chargers.
100%.
Without a doubt.
And I think they will.
I think they will too. I think you really got to exploit their run defense. We'll get into that for sure. But what it just man, I don't want to compare it all, but to being as a former player, man, it's spectacular. I mean, everybody's happy. And you know what's funny? Like, we all do things during the week, work and whatnot, and all you can think about is the game. Like, all you can think about, we're in the playoffs. Oh, my gosh. Because this is a winnable game. Now, the Chargers, it's a different team than week 2, without a doubt. But they have their weaknesses, too. And that's up front in the offensive line, and they don't stop the run at all. It's amazing. They give up 5.5 yards a carry almost. That's awful. Awful. That's Pop Warner awful.
You could not be game planning for a more different team than the Titans.
No doubt.
Right?
Without a doubt.
This is literally like the two furthest ends of the spectrum in terms of play style.
Yeah. And look, Herbert, you look at his stats, very comparable to Trevor's. Very comparable.
Yep.
Now, he had the injury early on and whatnot. I think, who knows what, I know he had some missed guys, but, look, he has the first 2 years were unbelievable for Justin Herbert. He was setting records. And this year down a little bit. I didn't watch any of the Broncos game, but how did they get their ass beat like that? I know Herbert played a lot because he led the team in passing when they yanked.
Well, they yanked a lot of their guys in the second half.
Second half.
Yeah,
and then Russell Wilson just had the game of his life. He threw for 3 touchdowns. He didn't do that all year.
Playing against the Chargers scout team, he was able to beat. Yeah.
All right, that's why.
What happened? What I think the main thing is.
Why play any of them at all? Well, I would play them a little bit, but okay.
They
got
did
smoked.
They did basically exactly what we did against the Texans. The only difference was we were blowing the Texans out by halftime.
Right.
So the final score looked much different.
The first game.
The second game.
Oh, the Texans. Right. Right. I'm sorry. Right.
Like 2 weeks ago.
Yep.
The difference was when we had the starters in, we got this big lead. That game was relatively competitive, but by halftime, Staley called the dogs off.
Okay. So that
Chase Daniel was playing.
They're going to come in. We'll get into them, of course, later in the week. On paper, they look really good. Like you named some of their roster. Like, whoa, he's pretty. He's one of the best. Oh, wow, he's really that. But we have a good team too. There's no doubt about it. All right, we're going to go through it because a couple things I didn't like. I kind of get the double or the fake reverse pitch, but I don't know. Trevor tried to be real cute with it, like the no look. You're driving in the hole in basketball, and you give the no look, dish off. And I get it. I don't know. I don't. The execution sucked. That was a big risk. So here's the problem with those kind of plays: they're so risky. And all it takes on the other side is one guy not to get fooled by the read, and he's there. He's sitting there at home waiting. Now, the chances are he's probably, getting confused by you got one guy going this way and one guy going that way. You're probably like, what the hell's going on?
I think we got him, too. Yeah. I think if that's a clean exchange,
it would have been, it could have been a score. Yeah. It was, listen, I don't know, risk versus reward.
Aikman brought up a good point on the broadcast.
Yeah, what'd he say?
We didn't see because we were in the stands. Obviously, I didn't see it till later.
Yeah.
I didn't even think about this. Trevor is 6'6". Yeah. Agnew's like 5'9".
Good point.
And you notice the pitch was high.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. His low is Agnew's
correct.
High.
To Trevor, it's kind of a normal height, but for someone considerably shorter than you, that was a good point I didn't think about.
Execute it better then, boys. Execute it better.
Agreed.
Because that's one thing about, and we're gonna get into it a little bit. It's not a big deal, but like missing Zay Jones, like this next game, we can't afford that now.
No.
And it wasn't. Look, Trevor was, the whole offense, the running game. Now, granted, 14 carries, average 1.4 yards a carry. They're a good run defense. I get it. They averaged 3.8 on 39 carries. Look, our defense was very physical, no doubt about it. And you give credit to Henry. He's an absolute beast. He took some shots, and he kept coming and coming. We controlled him overall. I'll take 3.8 yards to carry overall for them. He didn't do – and look, 16 points, it's on that board I always talk about, right? Hold them to 16 or less. You've done your job as a defense. You should win the game.
And
offense is supposed to score 17 or more. That's just for the record. So, that wasn't good. Third down, pretty good. Pretty good. 6 of 17 the Titans were, which is less than 1 of 3. So, good job there by the D. Offense was 5 of 11 on third down. That's pretty good, too. That's high 40s. So, just not good enough. Not clicking enough. And I want to see, because the last 2 games, I feel like Trevor's done. It's not bad, right? It's okay. It's just got to be a little bit better. And I want him to go back to that Trevor ball. Go start, take off and run, make a play. Just make plays. And I'll tell you what, the throw to Kirk, beautiful. And you got to love just the way that Doug Peterson calls plays. He's getting guys open for the QB to hit. And that's the game today, I think. I really do. I don't think it's like, all right, you got to beat your man. No, I'm going to set you up to beat your man. Sometimes you're going to have to beat your man one-on-one. Of course, double moves, make him bite on something, whatever the case may be. But I'm eventually going to get you open.
And I think a lot of it with Doug and the really smart offensive guys around the league, a lot of it is throughout the week looking at that defense and saying, okay, based on how they typically like to cover people, this guy's probably going to be on this guy.
Yep.
So
no, right, exactly.
So
exactly.
I think today's good.
Yep.
So
it's more deciphered down to the actual match.
Right. So a lot of times, and he does it naturally. He doesn't force it, but a lot of times it ends up being, okay, this will probably be a pretty big Christian Kirk day or a pretty big Evan Ingram day.
Oh, right. He knows going in.
Because Doug is calling plays saying this guy can't cover Ingram or Kirk or whoever you're thinking. Right. So.
Well, I tell you, Derwin James could cover. He could have I'm sure he could cover Ingram.
Absolutely.
I think he could. He is phenomenal player.
Perfect example. Like that may not be the matchup.
That may not be the matchup, right? Yeah. How do they do otherwise? Asante Samuel Jr. is pretty good. They lost to one corner who was pretty good, Callahan, I think. I forget his name, but look, they're better against the pass than they are against the run.
I agree with you that this needs to be a big ETN day.
Huge.
In my opinion.
Or hasty or both or whatever. Heavy on the run, no doubt about it. But, look, the overall, you win the game. You're AFC South Division champs. You just got to be a little bit better. Defense is coming. It's not a problem with my concern with the defense. The last 3 offenses they've gone against just aren't overall very good, but they did the job, and they knew what they. You knew Henry was going to get some yards. He's that good, and he's that big. Me and my brother were talking last week. He's like, can you imagine have to tackle that guy over and over and over and over and all game long? I'm like, yeah, geez, that would be, that'd be pretty tough. He's a tough hombre, man. He was taking some shots, but we brought it. Our defensive front really brought it and played a physical game. So. It's fantastic. Offense, only 13 first downs, 222 total yards, and only 47 plays. They had 72 plays. Think about that. That's pretty wild. I'll give you another stat I thought was awesome. 4,113 yards, 25 TDs, 8 picks, 66.3% completion percentage at a 7.0 yards per average on throws. That is Trevor Lawrence's stats for the year. Think about those compared to last year. It's like night and day. Overall, the kid has done extremely well. I don't want to get ahead because we got this week. Let's see year 3. Let's see. With Doug, adding Ridley and others, going to be fantastic.
History in the NFL tells us that quite often a quarterback's biggest jump from 1 year to 1 year is when he gets a second year with the same head coach and the same OC.
Yeah. And he's comfortable. I got to see a little bit. I think those quick throws work for him and take off when you got to make a play. Those work, and then everything else opens up. And I love Agnew, man. I want more of Agnew, more speed. I think you can gash these guys for big chunks in the run game. So figure that out. I think it's going to be great. The atmosphere is going to be phenomenal. I will say this. The stadium looked absolutely beautiful. Majority of Jaguar fans. Majority. There were obviously some Titan fans, but it wasn't anything like we've seen earlier in the year.
It was like 95.
I know. It was awesome. And my friend Chad Johnson over at the Jags, COO there, he told me, he's like, it's going to be majority Jag. I'm like, I'm telling you think it's crazy, but when we started winning, especially going to the playoffs, every home game was like that. Every one. Maybe not standing room only. You know what I mean? That's obviously really filled to the rim with brim. You know what I'm saying? It's way up there, but it was like that. That's what you get when you win. It's so beautiful. I mean, it's just so awesome. I mean, the whole thing. It's great. I was asked by the way, I had to answer him through Twitter. Guy on Twitter, Dan, I think his name was, got a house by the stadium. Hey, can the dad bods play pre-game? I reached out to my band, like, we can't do it. I'm like, we're playing Friday night, though, at Culhane's in Atlantic Beach.
Let's go.
Dad bods at Culhane's, NAB, going to be a great one. So, look, again, congrats to everybody. I can't say it enough. The turnaround is absolutely incredible. To go from 2-6 or whatever it was to 9-8,
2-6, and then 3-7,
and 3-7 to 9-8. It does have a 96 feel. We went on a run line. We won our last 5 to get in, and now you're 0-0, which is great. You know, it doesn't matter. The records don't mean nothing now. May matter to Vegas, but it don't matter to anybody in that organization, especially that locker room.
Do you think they'll play a little bit looser this week? I felt like they played a little tight against the Titans, personally.
No, you know what?
Especially
I think Vrabel and company had a really good plan on how to exploit our defense with Dobbs, and they did until we figured it out. It took about a half.
And we in the second half, we forced them into more obvious passing situations.
Yep.
And
yep.
if you put them in obvious offensive passing downs, they're screwed.
Yeah.
I mean, they can't do anything. Because their left tackle is literally like the worst in the league. He's terrible.
Their O-line's not very good. That's for sure. And they can't. And Dobbs is, just inexperienced. And he's more of a runner
there's
than
a reason
thrower.
he's been on like a million practice squads this year. And if they can't run a play off of Derrick Henry, they're screwed. That's pretty much.
Well, he did have a nice touchdown pass to 85. That was a pretty good throw.
That's true. That was a really good throw.
I mean, so I think they came with a good plan and again, hey, we'll take it. The ball bounced our way, right? Great call at the right time. I was concerned. The offense just wasn't clicking like it's supposed to. No run game. Trevor he made some really good throws, and then he was off on a few. But that's all right. That's over with now. Now we move on to the West Coast Chargers. I think I'll call them that just because I keep calling them L.A. or I keep calling them San Diego. But we're gonna break it down later in the week. And look, I know all you Jag fans. We have a bunch of great players too. That's the caveat, okay? Here, I'm just gonna read off some names, so take it easy. And you're all fantasy people too, so I'm sure you appreciate it. But of course, Justin Herbert, similar numbers again to Trevor. So Trevor's on the right. That doesn't mean he's down. It's whatever. They had injuries. They had stuff going on. He was injured himself a little bit. They're both very good. And Trevor's playing some really good. He's still playing really good ball. I just want to see it. I want to see when he was that before the last 2 games. There were 4 or 5 games. He was really on fire. That's what I want to see Saturday. Is that a lot to ask?
No.
But you do have to rely on the run a lot.
You drafted him number 1 overall.
Right.
It's not a lot to ask.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Eckler's a very good back. I was going back and forth on Twitter with somebody. He's like, I'm not worried about it. I'm like, look, 107 receptions out of the backfield. And he averages 4.5 yards a carry.
It's been a little bit of
the running game's only 54 yards a game for him. So it's not like a dominating thing. But guess what? He's got 13 touchdowns on the ground and 5 on the receiving. He's got 18 touchdowns.
And running backs catching the ball has been a little bit of an Achilles heel for
open
us.
Space.
We've struggled with that.
Yeah, you're right about that. So he's a really good player. Keenan Allen, when healthy, one of the top receivers in the game. Mike Williams, when healthy, one of the top big-bodied receivers in the game. Gerald Everett, pretty good athletic tight end. Not a cream of the crop, but a really good. They had a couple other guys that I hadn't heard of, so I won't put them out there. But it's Joshua Palmer, DeAndre Carter. They got 3
Palmer's
touchdowns
a good player.
each. What's that?
Palmer's a good player.
Yeah, he's got 72 receptions. It's a lot. That's a lot. Their O-line, look, they've given up 39 sacks, but Eckler averages 4.5 yards a carry, so not bad. Not bad. I think I have our numbers somewhere. I do have our numbers. Our sacks. We've given up 28, so we're better than them. And we're averaging 4.7, baby. Gotta love that. On defense, Joey Bosa back from injury. If he's healthy, he's really good, obviously. Khalil Mack's got 8 sacks, 12 tackles for loss. Derwin James, very good player. Sante Samuel, good. He's got 2 picks, 11 PDs. Michael Davis was the other. Kenneth Murray Jr., I like him. So, look, we got our players too. There's no doubt about it. It's going to be a great game. That's what playoffs are about. It's going to be – now, wild card can be tricky, right? Sometimes wild cards are blowouts, and then the divisional on are really tight. That's what happened last year, and I think it's 2 years in a row. I don't expect this one to be a blowout either way. I do maybe think it could be a shootout. If Trevor's on his game, it could totally be a shootout. And, hey, like you said, Graham, that's why you draft him number 1. I think we're feeling good. We should be very confident. Of course, you're not thinking about week 2 because it doesn't matter. Week 3, whatever it was. Doesn't matter. None of that matters, right? You're going to watch that tape, but you're going to watch all the tape from then on and see how they've performed. They've been kind of up and down. I think they had a 1-3-game winning streak and then loss, win. It's just kind of been an up and down year for them. They're normally not that strong in the playoffs, if you can recall, the Chargers. Historically, they haven't really been. They've gotten to the AFC Championship game, I know, a couple times, but maybe more than a couple times. But normally they're not that strong because they don't stop the run. That 3-4 is hard to stop the run, man. It sure is.
The physicality of the playoffs has consistently gotten to them in the last 20 years. For a long time, that's been an issue with them.
And it's not like they play finesse football. I mean, they throw the ball a lot. It's not ground and pound and move you out of the way. But hey, man, they're gonna come to play. They're gonna feel pretty good. I think I'm not giving a score yet, but of course, look, anything can happen in the playoffs. I remember our first playoff game up in Buffalo. Me and 3 others missed the team meeting the night before. Coughlin's first ever playoff team meeting, and we were late to it. Coming back from Canada. Don't ask me why we were over there. That's not the point. But we were late. It was bad. He was so mad at us. But we won. So we got off easy. If we would have lost, it would have been a big, hefty fine.
Oh, my goodness.
But since we won, he did fine us. But nothing like they would fine you today for missing the team meeting. We tried to get there. We think the cab driver, he knew, and he went the long way on purpose. Jerk. We beat him anyway.
He had some money on the Bills that game.
Yeah. I think so. Speaking of the Bills, Damar Hamlin moved to a Buffalo hospital.
Great news.
You know what? Look, one of the greatest parts of this whole thing is how everyone around the world either prayed or wished this kid well to just be better. No mention of anything. What he looks like, who he prays to, who he votes, none of that, none of it. Now, some jackasses try to say this or that. I don't pay attention to them. But it brought people together, man. It's a beautiful thing. But think about all the division that's been going on in this country for whatever. You can say for whatever reason. I don't really care. I'm just saying that incident. I mean, it was crazy. I mean, every day, my wife or my kid, Dad, how is he? How is he? Dad, what have you heard? Have you heard anything? I mean, it's just constant. Friends, people on the internet, everywhere. Everybody was praying for this young man. And I think that's a beautiful thing, man. Football does bring people together. Sports brings people together. And that incident, I'm glad he's doing better. It sounds like he's going to be okay. What a crazy You never think you're going to lose your life playing football, ever. I never, ever, ever, ever thought that could happen. You know, could I get a concussion? Sure. Break a leg? Whatever. You know, break my neck? I don't know. I had a 22-inch neck. I don't think you were breaking it. Or I was breaking it. I worked on it a lot. I made sure of it. I had to headbutt big offensive linemen. Those big sons of bitches, they were huge. I had to make sure that neck was strong. But seriously, that to me, what a great underbelly of the story. Like, just everybody around the world came together.
And big shout out to Denny Kellington.
Yes.
The
I saw
on staff for the Bills.
The trainer. Yes.
He is the one who administered CPR.
He's the
Damar
one that I
field.
think noticed how he fell. I was like, that didn't look like that.
Right,
He
right.
fell wrong. I saw that. I don't know if you saw it before. It was on Countdown. The EAP manual. Every team has. It's called the emergency whatever plan, and part of it is somebody either can't, like tracheotomy, like can't breathe for whatever reason. You know it's in the book. Like, so they knew. That's what the defibrillators.
Yeah.
Like that made, like, that's a new thing. Thank goodness those were there. They're saying if they weren't there, they might not have brought them back. It's unbelievable.
It's wild.
It's unbelievable. He's doing better, man. I tell you what, you watch out for Buffalo. That kid makes an appearance in that locker room. You better watch out. They're going to be like, nobody can touch them.
Right.
You kidding me?
Right.
A, they're really, really, really good, but B, you have that too. You're like, freaking, let's go. Who wants some? You know. But it was a very scary moment, but turned into a beautiful thing, in my opinion. No doubt about it. All right, that's going to do it for me. Look, it's going to be a great week. Enjoy yourselves, Jag fans especially. You deserve it. You've been hanging in there forever. I'm told I'm going to do a little hype video maybe after this, so stay tuned. We'll see. But until next time, stay safe and be cool out there, man. We'll check you right here. Catching up with Tommy Mack on 1010XL, on Facebook, and on Relevant. Peace.